Can Hyrox programming create a revenue stream in a gym? You're going to find out today. This is Run a Profitable Gym. I'm your host, Mike Borkin, and please hit subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Harry Singh owns CrossFit NYC in the Big Apple, and he landed on our most recent leaderboard for revenue. That leaderboard is incredible. It runs from $68,000 to $100,000 a month. We're digging in to help you boost your revenue at your gym. Harry, welcome. You are probably the longest standing CrossFit affiliate owner in the world.
I think that might be true. I don't know where I can get that official, but our affiliate date is July 4th, 2005.
Whoa. So that is a long time in business, and yet you found a very creative way to add some revenue with something a little bit new. So I want to dig into that, and I got to know, I'm just going to get right into it. How did you create, develop, and market a Hyrox revenue stream in a CrossFit gym?
I have to give Two Brain significant credit. They didn't say Hyrox, but, Coop's, one of his philosophies that comes across is you should figure out what your specialty is and, do it better than everyone else. And so when we started CrossFit NYC, we knew Greg Glassman was going to let anyone and everyone enter the market. And although we were the first in New York, we knew others were coming. And at the peak, there were 22. I decided that our competitive strategy, what we would do better than everyone else is we would do just CrossFit. Everyone else was doing CrossFit plus martial arts, CrossFit plus yoga, CrossFit plus bowling or tennis. We just decided we would be all CrossFit all the time. We followed the main site, et cetera. So we always had the idea of how do we distinguish ourselves. And that got resonated when as I read a lot of the Two Brain stuff and talked with my mentor, Russell Francis. And when someone brought Hyrox to my attention, my reaction, in the first minute was, no, we're CrossFit. Maybe it's not as popular as it was, but we're only CrossFit. Then they looked and they said, well, it's running, rowing, ski erg, sled push, sled pull, burpee, broad jumps, sandbag lunges, farmer's carry, and wall balls. So that was sort of a show-stopping argument that I couldn't say, well, we don't do that, because we do that, right?
Those ingredients are common.
The only interesting ingredient that's not common are sleds. Although everyone sees sleds in a CrossFit gym, they're not used. And I think I have some insight going back to the beginning of why that is. When Glassman set up CrossFit, he wanted measurable, observable, repeatable. It was very much into the work equals force times distance, and power is work over time. And the problem with sleds is they're complicated. Mm-hmm. Not that they're complicated to use, they're much simpler to use. The physics of the equation for the work is complicated, and it's not easy to replicate. And that's, in my opinion, why it never came out that there's a benchmark workout with a sled, because, well, what are you pushing it on?
What's
what kind of sled is? So, you can have two sleds with two completely different weights, and it's a completely different experience. So CrossFit never used sleds, but, that's an easy problem to solve. They use sleds at the games, for example, when everyone's pushing on the same surface so they can compare one another. They said, look, we're a big affiliate. We're going to figure out a surface that sort of mimics the race conditions at Hyrox so that we can replicate that. And other than that, we're all ready to go, which seemed kind of too good to be true. So we figured out how to do the sleds, and it's not that complicated. I'll be happy to share, what carpet runner we put them on so that the experience is the same for everyone. And we initially went with the Rogue sled that was similar to the Hyrox sled, and Hyrox now has a company center that makes sleds, but we've got it down to, if you're a serious Hyrox competing at the world level, you can come to the experience at our gym, and it's what you expect.
Okay.
Right? It's not that I can't tell you that that's exactly 277.2 pounds of force to move it horizontally, but it's damn close, and it's good enough for us because we don't need our workouts replicated around the world. So it was a great fit. But then so many other things got triggered in my work with Two Brain. For example, I love the idea of the no sweat intros, because it's just chaos to have someone come in and walk in and they're snatching and doing handstand walks, and people look at that and go running. And you're certainly not going to throw them in the class and say, we'll scale the handstand walks and use this PVC pipe, because it's not a real experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. But then when Hyrox came along, we said, we actually now can have a sweat intro where you can actually do a Hyrox class, because people off the street can do Hyrox. In 2 minutes, you show them how to push the sled. They're not confused. They can do a burpee. Maybe they don't broad jump well, but they can. There's no thing that someone gets to the station and just looks like a deer in the headlights.
Sure.
So everyone can do it. So it was a perfect fit. But it also is a perfect fit for my members. Why? CrossFit's constantly varied. So on Wednesdays and Saturdays, part of our constant variance is that we do this low skill stuff, so to speak, called Hyrox, but long, hard Metcon, where you're working exclusively on 4 areas of fitness: strength, cardio, stamina, and there's a certain amount of flexibility in Hyrox. So my members recognize this as CrossFit. There's no complaints from my members. Wednesday, Saturday is, we call it CrossFit, Hyrox Metcon. But people can do sweat intros on Wednesday and Saturday. They don't have to do sweat intros. They could do no sweat intros, but if they do a sweat intro, they can have an experience and they can see and not be confused, and they can join right in, and it makes sense. So that rapidly took off, that it became a very popular day. I decided up front, we're not going to do everything every day. We're going to do Hyrox on Wednesday and Saturday. Why Wednesday and Saturday? Because Monday and Tuesday are already slammed to the wall, and I don't need more people coming in on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday is everyone's first day off of the week. Saturday is the weekend. Wednesday, Saturday gives a nice space. Since we started Hyrox, Wednesday's gone from our slowest weekday to our busiest weekday.
So you solved a big problem.
So all the capacity that was underutilized on Wednesday, and significantly amount of capacity, because on Saturday you've got you run 3 or 4 classes. Oh, well, we're really busy. All right, run 5 or 6 classes. We run 10 classes during the week, so it's very simple. So the capacity fit in right where we wanted it. And it's known to our members, that's when the sleds are out. Right, because the sleds need the carpets, and during the week, on the other days, we don't have the carpets out. People don't use the sleds, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. Then when people come in on Wednesday, our members, and sweat intros, and we even started using ClassPass because we can, and also because it fits one of the prime directives of what Coop always says and what I learned in business school. Do what you can do that others can't. Mm-hmm. If your factory can manufacture this product, then manufacture that product. Don't do what everyone else is doing. As it applies to Hyrox, no one's got bases for sleds. If you're, Barry's boot camp, your floor's already done, right? Same thing in Orange Theory. But if you're a CrossFit box, you got space. You can set it up for Hyrox.
How much space do you have at NYC?
We have 6,000 or 7,000 square feet at the Flatiron in a big box.
Okay.
We have the rent that goes with it. So,
yeah, that's the thing, right?
But we have the space to set up 5 lanes of sleds.
Okay, so that's the key.
No one in Manhattan can do that. Oh. So we're set. Now Hyrox NYC sold out. Everyone's looking for a place to train. You can train at CrossFit NYC. The other thing we decided, consistent with the do what you can do better than everyone else, is we don't get treadmills. We're not going to simulate the Hyrox race. Why? Because you can run 182,000 places in New York. You can do sleds at one place in New York. Why? Doing treadmills for us would be like doing yoga. Someone wants it, but they can go somewhere else. They can't go somewhere else to get the sled experience. And this is a great opportunity for CrossFit affiliates, in my opinion, because we're already set up for wall balls. The regular gym isn't set up for, we have Globo Gym, even the boot camps. Someone threw the ball, it rolled over to me, and it interfered with my experience with my private trainer. Here, CrossFit affiliates are all set up for wall balls. They're all set up. They can easily be set up for sleds. I saw some feedback from people that thought, oh, Hyrox isn't CrossFit. People are thinking about this completely wrong. Hyrox is the best opportunity that's happened to CrossFit in all the time I've been an affiliate. Because A, it doesn't ask me to change a single principle of CrossFit. B, it fits in on day one. C, it's a sport in the true meaning of the word. It's predictable. And the hierarchy, the pyramid of CrossFit is, sport is at the top. You're training, one of the big advantages of sport. Now, the fact that this sport happens to use Hyrox CrossFit movements is interesting, but so what? Great. I'm glad that this sport doesn't involve throwing a football because I'm not set up to teach throwing footballs. I am set up to teach pushing sleds, or I can easily be, and everything else in a Hyrox race. So it's perfect. If it doesn't need a hockey puck, it doesn't need a basketball hoop, it doesn't need a tennis court, it needs sleds. Mm-hmm. Easy. So it's to me, any affiliate with space, it's a great fit. And on day one, it's got a name that's only growing so people understand it.
Okay. So that's fascinating. That's the great overview of exactly what you're doing. And when I look at the equipment list for Hyrox, the only thing a gym might have to pick up is sleds. And many gyms do have those, like you said. You just got to figure out a way to kind of keep it even, but you've solved that problem. It very much works. The rest of the stuff, pretty easy. Ski ergs, most gyms are starting to get those. Rowing machines, sandbags, all the other stuff. You can very easily create this programming. Harry, I looked at your programming on there and it's really cool stuff. It's like longer chippers with some of the movements, or it's some AMRAPs, or it's interval work. And the programming, it looks a ton just like standard CrossFit, but it's using very specific movement sets and so forth that apply to Hyrox. It all works. So I got to know, how do you charge members for this program, and what percentage of your revenue comes from, Hyrox now? Do you get outside people who come just for this program?
Yes to all those questions.
Okay, let's dig in.
Our regular CrossFit members have access to all our classes, and from their point of view, the Wednesday and Saturday classes are the Wednesday and Saturday classes. Right. They happen to hear the name Hyrox and maybe they're doing the race, but otherwise, if Hyrox didn't have a name and we just programmed those WODs, no one would think, well, why are you doing wall balls and rowing and pushing a sled? This is CrossFit.
It's CrossFit.
So no CrossFitter says,
yep,
what is this? But there are some people that just want to do Hyrox, which is perfectly makes sense, right? For a lot of the public, whether they can articulate it or not, the downside of CrossFit are certain skills that they don't really care about. Coordination, agility, accuracy, balance, power, speed. They want the other four: strength, cardio, stamina, and flexibility, right? If you were playing Family Feud, ask 10,000 people, name your favorite component of fitness.
Survey says
it's going to be the stuff that's in Hyrox. No one says, listen, I'm looking for a gym to help me with my coordination. I mean, obviously you need a certain amount of coordination to do even, almost everything, but you don't need to walk on your hands.
Sure.
Some people, as time goes on, that's a great extra, right? It's like in college, I think I'm going to take that advanced class in something, or I'm going to take a language that I never took. But most people want to major in strength, cardio, stamina, and flexibility. So Hyrox does that. So we offer a Wednesday, Saturday membership that people come in and do those 2 days. Now, normally I was always opposed to 2-day memberships. Why? Everyone comes on Monday and Tuesday when I least need them. Now, if I have Wednesday and Saturday memberships, I got all the capacity I want. They're not crowding out me on Monday or Tuesday. So it's perfect. People can do packs and drop-ins. And again, one of the problems with drop-ins is people want to drop in at 6 a.m. on Monday or 6 a.m. p.m. on Monday or Tuesday when, you're already full. Now they want to drop in at, 6 a.m. on Wednesday or say or 7:15 on Saturday. It's fine with me. Mm-hmm. So people do, we'll run 150 people through a Hyrox squad on Saturday. Probably 75 are our members, 40 are Hyrox members that do Wednesday, Saturday. The other people are on packs. We're able to do people on class pass. And again, the beauty is I'm set up for it those days. There's a pent up demand because it's like, it's the Friday special or in this our case, the Wednesday, Saturday special. And people that aren't regular members plan their workouts. I run on Monday and Thursday, and I go to Hyrox training on Wednesday and Saturday, and I'm all set. Mm-hmm. So, yes, we market it both. We give it to our members because that's the programming. Sure. And that allows us to maintain we're not a Hyrox gym. We are a CrossFit gym. You're mm-hmm. welcome to come on the days that our classes don't have prerequisites. Uh-huh. But we're first and foremost a CrossFit gym, and nothing's changed, right? If Dave Castro had programmed a Hyrox race as an event at the games, no one would say, "What's this?" No, wow, great program.
Yeah, right? Fits right in. Sure. Do you mind throwing any numbers at me in terms of what you would charge people for a Hyrox membership at your gym?
Right now our Hyrox membership's $199 a month. Okay. It covers. We actually added some Sunday classes because Sunday was just open gym, so you can come anytime to a class on Wednesday, Saturday, or Sunday. Mm-hmm. But the average person, if they're really religious about it, comes 8. Maybe there's 9, 5 sure. Wednesdays or 5 Saturdays. So it's 8 or 9 classes for $199. Okay. Relative to our regular membership, which is $335. It's Manhattan. I'm paying. Okay. Yep. I got the rent for it, so everything scales accordingly.
Yes, sir.
But and a single class is $45, and the other thing it lets us do is we just put it up on the website, click and buy. Right? Someone goes, I signed up for a Hyrox race. I need some places. They just go here, click and buy a drop-in, mm-hmm. buy a pack. So we don't do the no sweat approach of here's our book and here's what we offer. There's a stream of people in New York who want to do Hyrox, and I don't want to give them any barriers to doing it.
Sure. Okay. In terms of revenue percentages, do you have an idea of what Hyrox contributes to your gross?
So it's a little bit difficult, right? If I have a member who stays a member, sure. and they do Hyrox on Wednesday and they do CrossFit on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, what are they?
Is that Hyrox money or is it CrossFit money? Mm-hmm. It helps our general membership. It helps, we have a relatively small percentage have, quote, Hyrox monthly memberships. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean a lot of people aren't paying for packs to do Hyrox classes or retaining their overall membership.
Right.
Because we have this interesting stuff on Wednesday and Saturday that fits in with the, they're not doing double unders and snatches on Wednesday and Saturday, which is great.
Right. So I see you're listed as a Hyrox training center on Hyrox.com. So how does your gym connect to the company? And like people, when they're looking on the website, can say, I want to train in NYC, and there's your gym. How does that all work?
Hyrox, you just apply to be an affiliate. I think there's not even the equivalent of a level 1 cert to be affiliated, although they've started their online stuff. So they're sort of like where CrossFit was early on. And mm-hmm. again, anyone can be an affiliate. So, F45, now all the F45s in Manhattan are affiliates.
Right.
But I don't care because none of the F45s in New York have 5 lanes of traffic for sleds on a Saturday. So that's fine. And the word gets around, in my opinion, this is where you can go. And this is the training camp for Hyrox.
Do you see big influxes in interest and members and packages when a race gets announced nearby?
Yeah, the New York race last year was one day and it sold out right away. And it was the beginning of Hyrox taking off. This year, I think it's 2 or 3 days. It sold out almost instantly. And yes, I'm seeing people that are doing, they're getting their free sweat intro. But I see more and more people. I've never used a sled. I was looking and where can I use a sled or where's the setup? And then the word gets out, I think, through the Hyrox community that you can always get in and get a class on a Wednesday or Saturday at CrossFit NYC. Mm-hmm. So yes, it's hard to tell how much of the uptick at the moment is due to the new year and how much is due to at the same time Hyrox announced a race. But the beauty is I didn't have to make a big investment if Hyrox fades, although it seems to be a rising stock right now. What's the worst that happens? Oh, I have 6 sleds and now 4 of them are getting dust. That's not like a huge investment compared to what I've done over the years. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's easier to get rid of than a rig, or anything
exactly.
else.
Because that's the problem that Chris has always said when he's talking about, outfitting a gym, buying a ton of equipment and assuming it's going to bring you members isn't really a good plan. And we all bought reverse hypers back in the day and thought that was going to be the be all and end all. Powerlifters would show up. Doesn't work like that. But Hyrox, most of the equipment, like you said, almost all of it's on your shelves anyways. You might pick up a few things here and there. If you don't use it eventually, you can either sell it or you can use it in CrossFit program because it fits right in and you'll pay for it along the way if you run a program properly. So that's fascinating. I'd like to ask you this one about, do you consider this retention play for your general CrossFit members by adding Hyrox?
Yes, on multiple levels.
Okay.
One, it gives them more variety in the sense that they can sort of slow down and say, I'm not coming as much. Maybe I'll switch to the Hyrox membership. Just come 2 days a month. It gives me more opportunities to retain people.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I'm hopeful it's going to start giving us is as we have more people training exclusively Hyrox, we're able to now market a strength course, which is straight up about strength.
There you go.
Why? I don't know. I'm really having trouble pushing this sled. That's because you're weak. Yes, one answer is CrossFit, but again, look, I want to get better at pushing the sled. I don't really want to get better at double unders or handstand walks. So we can turn to people and say, and we just did this on Monday and Thursday, we have a strength course, which is, I would say, similar to in concept to Mark Rippetoe's starting strength. It's squat, press, deadlift, and bench. Tell me why that matters to Hyrox. Pulling deadlift is just like pulling the sled. Well, why pressing? That's like pushing the sled, holding the overhead position on the sled. So all of that matters. And now, again, I see us ending up with people who pay for a Wednesday, Saturday Hyrox membership and a Monday, Thursday strength membership and don't take CrossFit classes. On the other hand, all they're doing is some of the CrossFit stuff, not all of the CrossFit stuff. And why do I care? That would be like a university saying, well, we don't want you if you're not taking calculus. What do you mean? I'm taking 18 credits. No, but you're not taking calculus, and we require everyone to have a random mix of classes. So it's perfect for us, and it's perfect for them. And as time goes on, if someone says, I'm looking at this CrossFit, why would I want to do, Olympic lifting or some of this other stuff? Hey, what about sandbag lunges? You notice how you're shaking on the sandbag lunges? If you could get better at snatching, and you could get... So in general, the truth is still there. CrossFit is the best preparation for any sport. But Hyrox allows people to start training like Little League on day one. They don't have to do a lot of specialty stuff. They can just play the game. And then they can say, well, if I really want to get it to be a good baseball player, this is why I have to strengthen my wrists and strengthen my legs and do all this other stuff. So it sort of from the ground up gives people a reason to head towards CrossFit. They started with just Hyrox, then they added the slow lifts, then they can see value in some other things. They start hearing, hey, it turns out that everyone that wins Hyrox, I looked at their Instagram and they're doing CrossFit all day long. Yeah.
That's fascinating. So you solved a couple of problems, two big ones that I wrestled with as an affiliate owner back in like 2011 kind of thing. My gym was packed at noon and packed at 5 p.m. And I had the same thing as you were. I had these huge bubbles that would show up at very predictable times. I could not fill the gym at other times. So I had a 6,000 square foot warehouse. I couldn't get any revenue per square foot in many hours. And we had the space and it was wasted and it was heated and it was lit and no one was there. And so you solved that problem by finding a niche program that fits into those dead hours, which are now busier hours. The other thing that you solved that I really struggled with was when I had people in my CrossFit program, some of them, even though they kind of liked the overall concept, didn't want to do barbell movements, or they didn't want to do snatches or max out a snatch or do heavy deadlifts. They wanted to do quote unquote cardio or like boot camp style stuff. This would have been an incredible option for them and again, we always, as a CrossFit person, you want to get well-rounded athletes and so forth. But some people, you can't feed someone something they don't want. And I tried doing that. It did not work. They could have just cherry picked. And I used to mock people back in the day for cherry picking workouts, but they could have just said, you know what? I don't want to snatch. I still want to be fit, and I'm going to get fit by pushing a sled and doing a Hyrox style workout, which I enjoy. I'm going to come Monday and Saturday, and I'm going to toss in one other CrossFit style workout later on in the week, and I'm going to skip your max deadlift day. And I'd say, okay. And then maybe later on they want to do it. We put a program, and I'll toss in one bonus thing that you solved. How to get people to do that style of training? Well, you get them in the gym easily with these like low barrier to entry movements. They can do it, have fun, have success, work towards something. And then if they say they want to get better, I have a strength program for you. I've got flexibility training. I've got all this other stuff. So you solved these three problems. And I'm guessing that when you did this, did you notice a big change in the atmosphere, revenue, and metrics at your gym?
No.
Okay.
It takes time. On day one, when we added Hyrox classes, we were just marketing them to our own members.
Right. So it was just included. I got
We didn't have it figured out yet. And we weren't ready to go. As time went on, one of the things my mentor, Russell Francis, told me was the way he runs his on-ramp program. He said, after people do their first on-ramp class, private training, we tell them, you can take a class next week. We recommend, you come in on Thursday, but not on Friday or whatever the case may be. And I thought, well, I've got a dozen coaches. Now they're going to all make a judgment of come here. I can't come here. With the programming laid down so that we're doing CrossFit Hyrox Metcons on Wednesday and Saturday, the next step was we could tell people in on-ramp is 4 private training sessions, and starting after the first one, you have access to 3 weeks of Wednesday, Saturday classes.
Ooh,
so
that's
you
cool.
Sort of start on-ramp, right? Do 4 consecutive Monday privates. Come on Wednesday and Saturday and do Hyrox. I don't think I could do that much volume. Great. When each round says row 500 meters, row 250 meters. Whatever it is, just do less. As you move from station to station, the coach will tell you how to do it because there are people coming in all the time so people can, come in on day one, do their first private, basically learn how to squat and a few other basic stuff and be in Hyrox on day 2. The truth is they could have been Hyrox without even doing the private. But the point is they can start going to CrossFit classes right away, because one of the problems we had in the past was we had, you do 4 private training and then you get a month of classes. People would finish the private training and just look at I'm not going in there. Right? Now it's accessible from day one. What do you mean you didn't go to a Hyrox class? Well, you didn't think you could push the sled? Yeah, go push.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped us with the on-ramp program. And then as time went on, as we started tooling up the factory, then we could find people to buy what we were selling. But it took. We've been at this 15 or 16 months now.
Okay, what's the growth look like? Are you happy with it? Where's it going, and how are you going to make it go faster?
I'm we're just going to do what we're doing without making a big investment. So, we're running 5 classes on Saturday, and we have a certain amount of capacity based on the lanes. They're getting filled up. So we add another class. We added Sunday classes. We'll look and make a decision. Do we want to buy another set of everything so that we can get more people in a class? Do we want to have 2 classes side by side? Again, we have all the flexibility because there's nothing else going on Wednesday and Saturday.
Right.
So having learned both in my business career and in my CrossFit affiliate career, not to overextend, not to grow too fast, not to deliver, not to put out a product that you can't deliver. If you're a restaurant and you're really popular, that's great. But if the things start getting backed up in the kitchen, that's a problem, right? So we want to grow slow and steady. And, like any other affiliate, I'm not looking to grow 100%. I'm looking to grow 10, 15% this year or whatever I can do. So I don't need any miracles. I just need steady progress.
Okay. What's your biggest piece of advice? Affiliate owners listening out there, or even non-affiliate owner, and they're thinking about adding a Hyrox program to a gym. What is your best piece of advice for them?
Do it on 1 or 2 days a week. Don't try to say we have Hyrox every day at 10 in the morning, because it gets boring to the people at 10 in the morning, right? If they come 4 times a do. And it takes a certain amount of setup to set up the floor. I mean, when people come in on Saturday, it looks like we set up for the CrossFit Games. All the lanes are out, all the ski ergs are pulled, because the barbells don't get you. So there's a lot of setup. So I would recommend starting it 1 day a week or 2 days a week. I would recommend telling your members, this is CrossFit. Not every day is snatches, double unders, handstand walks, or toe to bar. And they already know this.
Mm-hmm.
Affiliates over the years have moved towards more structured programming and not sort of the randomness that was main site in the beginning. So now people expect, I do a strength portion and a cardio. They expect a certain rotation. So it's in line with expectations to have a predictable Wednesday, Saturday, or whatever the case may be. So I recommend 1 or 2 days a week, the same days, you set it up. In the beginning, we were running both Hyrox and CrossFit alongside each other, but as time went on, Hyrox got more popular. We were able to just get to 1 class because I don't want to be a 3-ring circus when I'm on the floor.
Okay.
And our members like it.
I got to ask you one question, a final one here that's not related to the Hyrox program. You've been an affiliate owner for 20 years now, and you just started working with Two Brain. Why did you get a mentor, and how has it helped you? I'm curious.
One thing that made a big influence on my business life was going to business school. Right. I realized I think I'm smart, I know all this, but having an organized approach for 2 years was really, really helpful. So I was used to learning and collaborating with someone else. We were getting stagnant. Recovering after COVID had its own problems, especially in some of the bluer cities like New York.
Of course.
So things weren't going well, and over the I probably got hundreds of Coop's daily emails, and everything that he wrote made sense. And that's not because I just believe everything I hear. I've been around the block.
Yeah.
And, his points were points I'd heard in business school, things that you should figure out what your gym can do better than everyone else and do it. It was a fundamental principle in business strategy. So I developed confidence in that Two Brain would know what they're doing, and they did. And I'm pleased to have someone. And I think that this process with Hyrox was enabled or accelerated by my ongoing talks with my mentor, right? Because, his discussion, how he does on-ramp and lets people to pick a class next week, triggered me. Well, if I do it this way, then it can be predictable. And there are a lot of things that, we did that involved tweaking two brain, and there's enough flexibility. For example, sweat intros. We can do that the way we're set up now. It's not part of the standard curriculum, but it was good to have someone that's also an affiliate owner that I could talk these things through with. And I definitely think it helped me get where I am faster and maybe better.
I appreciate that insight because I was curious. 20 years in business, I knew you'd been in business school. I was curious to see what made you work on that. Harry, thank you so much for sharing your experience with Hyrox and with mentorship and affiliation and everything else. It was great to talk to one of the oldest affiliate owners in the world. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. And thank you too, Brad. Thank you.
Very great. That was Harry Singh. He is one of our top revenue generators. We produce leaderboards every single month and we share them with you. Then we get the people in the leaderboards to tell you how they did it so you can have the same success. Tune in every week on the show. It's Run a Profitable Gym. Don't miss a single episode. My name is Mike Workington.